So, hello, Isabel. Thank you
Hi,
so much.
Olga.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming and speaking with us.
Thank you for your request.
Yes, we will start. Probably you will tell us what was your first thought and how did you appear helping animals. So, what changed in your head? In which moment you understood something was wrong?
I guess there was not just one thing. There were a lot of different clues along my path since I was a kid. I think there's so many reasons to, have a lifestyle that respects animals, that we grew up a certain way and were raised a certain way. Our parents were raised that way, so they subconsciously actually raise us in a way that harms animals, but it's completely, it's not it's not unwillingly. So I guess there were a lot of things that happened. I remember when I was a kid and we were at my uncle's house and they had rabbits, and then they told me, come over, we're going to see the rabbits, and the rabbits were so cute. And then my uncle's wife took me to the behind the house, and then she said, so we're going to eat the rabbits, and they were dead already. And then she started ripping the skin out.
Mm-hmm.
And it shocked me so much. It's like I realized that we were eating the same rabbits that were alive, and I made the connection. And it was a shock. It came really as a shock to me. I cried all afternoon, all day. I never wanted to touch food again because, animal food. And so my father said, well, you have to, or else you're going to die. And so it was really, I remember thinking, what kind of a world is this? A world where we have to kill animals to survive? That's really strange. And so I kind of wasn't, I didn't want that word.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to live in that kind of world. But so I was really young. I was like 7 or 8 or 9. And so then after a few days or weeks, my parents, forced me to eat meat again. But then later on, when I was 12, I was on a trip to London, to England actually, with my class.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this board. There was like this table of activists, and they had a sign that said "meat means murder," and I liked the wordplay. And I kept thinking about it, and I kept telling myself how true this is. So several times in my life, I've become a vegetarian. Mm-hmm. And then when I was, an adult, when I was old enough, I decided, I don't care what people say. I cannot eat animals, whatever they say. I don't care about my health. I don't care about anything. And then the really great thing about it is when I stopped, I found out that I was in better shape, that I had more energy, that I didn't get sick anymore. I was getting, flus and colds every winter, and I stopped catching viruses. It was as easy as that, and I started discovering all the foods, all the options, all the variety of food that we have access to. There's so much that we don't know when we are meat eaters, that we don't find out about because we're just stuck in our own place. And I think it really opened my mind too. My dog definitely helped, because having an animal living with you and seeing how smart, intelligent, clever, funny, how their unique personality is, that's really amazing. And I read something about pigs being as smart as 3-year-old kids, having the same IQ. And so ever since I knew that, it was impossible for me to eat pig. And then I was like, so I don't eat pig. No, it doesn't make sense to eat other animals. Who cares what their IQ is? They have feelings, and it didn't make sense. So I stopped eating all other animals then, and animal products. As soon as I knew about that industry, I was I became a vegetarian when it was how long ago? I don't know, 12 years ago. And information, we didn't have like all the information on the internet, all the investigations that are now available. Like people have no excuse now not to know what's going on farms and on slaughterhouses. They know how animals are killed. And I guess if I had known before, I would have stopped eating animals before. So we're all like, I'm not judging anyone ever, because we've all been in that place where it's just a habit. So we don't really know why we have habits. We just do things because they're like a ritual. And I think as I think now knowing what's going on and acting on it makes the world, it makes more sense to, everything makes more sense, and I think I understand the world a lot better, and it makes me happier.
In which moment did you realize you want to devote your life to it? Like now, Peta is all you do, yes?
It's my full-time job. I've been working for Peta for 8.5 years. So it's really a big part of my life.
Yes.
Actually, what happened is 9.5 years ago, I took a trip to Israel and Jordan. I went to Peta in Jordan, and I saw a lot of camels and horses. I saw these obese American tourists riding really tiny horses in the heat, and I felt really bad for these horses because they were carrying a lot of weight. They didn't have any water. They got whipped. And it was such a nice walk. I took that walk and I was like, there's no way. I wasn't an activist. I wasn't nothing then, but it was just normal not to get on a horse when you have two legs and you can actually enjoy the walk. And I was really shocked by that. And I was shocked because the camels had these scars because of the metal equipment that they were carrying. So they had these scars that like the scars were part of their body. And same thing, you look in the eyes and you know what's going on. You know they're not here by choice. And I was here by choice, and I have the power to choose to walk. And so I was really upset with that. And when I was there, I really realized everything. I mean, I felt so powerless that I couldn't help them, that I decided I'll do anything that I can to help them. So I came home and I really wanted to work for PETA because it's an international organization. It's the most, PETA US and its affiliates is the largest animal rights organization in the world. And it was really important for me to cover not just parts of animal protection in France, but be a part of something at a wider scale.
Peta France started from you?
No, it existed before, but I was one of the first people working full-time there. There had been some events, PETA US members, including founder Ingrid Newkirk, Vice President Dan Matthews, and other activists came to Paris to hold some demos. But I was, I guess, the first, or maybe the second, to be really on the ground and start being really active 100% of the time. And then we grew a little bigger.
Now you have a team?
We have a team, but I'm still the only one living in Paris. I'm the only one based in Paris. We decided not to. PETA decided not to invest in an office because it's really costly, and we'd rather have people working from home so that we don't spend, donors' money on things that are not helping animals. Yes. So there are offices, of course, with larger teams, but I'm the only one based in Paris.
So what was the most effective campaign?
For France?
Yes, for France, which really helped to bring the consciousness to people's heads.
I think Actually, PETA US campaigns got famous also all the way across the globe, all the way to France. So I think PETA started having a name before we had our biggest hits. But the campaign that is really important for me is the one that we did with Zaya. She's a model. She was very famous for other reasons, but she was. I don't know if I'm comfortable talking about that on camera. She was dating this soccer player, and she was a minor, and so there was a big scandal in France. She's one of the sweetest persons that I've worked with. When we did a campaign, we did a campaign with her, the same one that we had done with Pam Anderson, body parts. Animals are made. We're all made the same with the same parts.
Yes.
And the tagline said, "Have a heart, don't eat animals, go vegetarian." She's such a big celebrity here that it got us at the top of the news on like Twitter trends. We were covered like by every media. We were invited on one of the most important talk shows on television, and we could talk about what animals endure in factory farms, how meat is produced, and so that was really important. And I guess ever since that campaign, people can't really say they haven't heard of us. So I think that's an important one.
How do you think, what are the most effective ways to make people think for the first time about these problems? Like when I thought about the questions, it was my aim, like what should I ask Isabel for the people who never thought about that, for whom it's normal to eat meat, to hunt, whatever, to wear fur. Like, what do you think? What are the first things you should tell?
I think it really depends on the people that you're talking to. Every person is different. Some people will watch a documentary and like they're switched directly from omnivorous to vegan. Some other people need to have like step-by-step process. I think, well, to me, of course, seeing videos on fur farms is one of the things that struck me when I was a teenager. PETA videos, actually. There's another way that's really effective too, is not to judge people, because I don't think anyone wants to hurt animals, except those people you see in those videos that are actually, I'm sure, not even aware of what they're doing. They're not even aware that they're hitting and hurting intelligent beings or sensitive beings, that they're in such a place, in a mental place, that they're sociopath, like they don't have any empathy. And that's really sad. But I think most people have this skill of putting yourself in the other's place. And it's really, I think for some people you can just show them how sweet, cute, whatever, intelligent, playful animals that they're eating can be. Like, you can show them a calf who's playing with a dog, like a dog. You can see how pigs are so smart. They're so playful. You can snuggle with them. They can snuggle just like dogs and cats. Nobody really decided. It's just mankind have used animals for different purposes. And at first they used dogs as guardians, to guard their house and things like that. I think it's important to show some people that animals can be something else.
And what would you recommend to the activists in Ukraine?
I think they should listen to their heart. I mean, it's so cheesy to say that, but I think they should listen to the child in themselves. Whose thing is, if you tell a child that they're eating an animal and you show them what the animal is like, if you ask them to choose, would you rather eat or pet the animal? I don't think any child would say, I'd rather eat the animal. It's just something we are. Like, it's just the human nature is not to kill. It's just that we learn to be part of a community that does that. And so we think we do it for survival, but we really do it because that's what habits are. Habits are the most dangerous thing in the world because you never question yourself. You just do things without even thinking about it. That's what habits are. So change your habits. It's not that hard. It was harder. It's harder to quit smoking. It's harder to quit. It's harder to do anything else but stop eating animals. It's so easy. I mean, once you've tried it, well, don't judge people. But when you see something wrong, just don't let it go. You're the only one. You're the only person that can. If you witness something if you witness injustice, then you're the only witness, and just don't count on other people to. Don't rely on things. It's just not working. If you see an animal in pain, you should be the person to help them out, and don't judge even though you're being judged, which is pretty hard because families judge, friends judge, but what you do is right.
Yeah, thanks. How do you cope with the fact that you said in France you're the only one who is working that much? So, and obviously the people who are against your ideas, there's much more of such people. So how do you keep yourself just doing that? And
I think there's a lot more now. I mean, I've seen things change a lot. When I started working at Peta, I just thought I don't have a choice. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I had a choice. It's really just something I had to do. Not that it's my mission or anything like that. Like I was the witness and I had to do something. So nobody around was doing anything about it. And I felt a lot of injustice and I had to act on it. I had to do something. And I didn't care what people thought. And my close friends and families then tried to convince me that I was in some kind of cult, that I was wrong, that I was an extremist. And today, now that it's like the message has spread out a lot, and there are a lot and more vegans and a lot more and more people who care about animals and now agree that it's important, that it's a legitimate cause, and also that eating meat is bad for your health, because that was like, I've known it's bad for your health for such a long time and nobody would listen. But now that it's like, now the media control the information, and now that the media spreads out this message, then people start thinking, oh, so that's sad, because some people will just think about, they'll just act on something personal because it concerns them, unfortunately, but that's how we have to deal with that too. So yeah, don't listen to other people. You know what's right. You know it right there. And like, you know it when you look in an animal's eyes. You know what's right from the start. So that's what matters most. And I don't think there's like one way to be an activist. I think there's tons of different ways, and just find your own way.
what about your family? Do they support you right now? Like
They do now.
Are they vegetarians?
They eat a lot less meat and animal products. Some have actually completely cut out the meat, which is a really big thing, because we have in France we have this cultural on food that's so important. It's like people's identity. Well, the thing is, you have to make your voice heard, and it has to often, if you're not a celebrity, then you have to do something that the media will be interested in. If you're like distributing a leaflet, if you're handing out leaflets on the street, it's good. I mean, it's gonna reach out some people, but if you do this at a scale that the media will cover it on TV, for example, millions of people will know.
What are the main goals for today in the protection of animals?
And animal suffering. I mean, it's we have to be. I think it's important to cover all areas. I know, like, most animals are killed for food, but so the main goal is to reduce as much as possible animal suffering, and of course, the way to do that is to stop eating them, stop using them for anything. It's to stop animal exploitation. It's to show people that there's another way to live, and it's always the same goal. We just don't want animals to suffer. There are a lot of ways to, there's a lot of different actions you can do to help end it. I think it's so important to just talk to your neighbors and talk to your friends. Just tell them what you know, like, not being judgmental.
Okay, so probably the last message. If you know that you are hurt, for sure, like, everyone will hear you, what would you say?
Don't do to others what you wouldn't want them to do to you. I think that's the basic. Yeah. I think that's, if you remember that and if you apply it, it should be your motto.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much, and good luck in what you do.
Thank you, and good luck to you. I hope you grow really successful in Ukraine.
Excellent. Okay, so probably the last message you would like to give
To Ukrainian activists?
Yeah, probably not
To everyone?
Just to everyone, yes.
Humanity? Wow, that's a big message.
If you know that люди действительно знал, что точно услышат.
Don't do to others what you wouldn't want them to do to you. I think that's the basic. Yeah. I think that's, if you